Hey Beasts, it's TVB. I really want to thank you guys for contributing to the poll that I put up last week for Would You Rather ones. I asked you guys kind of an unconventional Would You Rather question. I gave you guys 5 options instead of just 2. Be like, which one of these videos would you rather see me make? And most of you, almost half of you guys, voted for top 5 movies of the 2010s, because this is an idea for a video that I've had for a while now, because back in October, right before the release of Zombieland 2 Double Tap, to sort of like, pay my respects to the first Zombieland film that turned 10 years old last year, I decided to make a video for the top 5 movies of 2009 and sort of look back and commemorate all the films that are turning 10 in that respective year. Geez, all the films that came out that year, at least, like, they're all turning 11 years old. They're either 10 now or 11. That's really crazy to think about. Jeez, I'm aging too fast. Oh, no, you were just TVB. I'm 89 years old. Jokes aside, so I figured, why not do the same for 2010? I'm gonna make this an annual tradition until 2023. Or maybe 2014, because I do remember making not like a top 10 video of 2015, but like a video of all the films I saw in 2015 ranked from worst to best, because I started reviewing movies in 2015, but it really didn't become like as big of a thing on my channel as it is now until 2016. So like, yeah, I did make a top 10 movies of 2014 video back in 2015, right before the Oscars, but due to technical difficulties, I couldn't get it to upload properly, so I just scrapped it. But yeah, well, I'll for the next few years, this will be like an annual tradition of mine. Anyway, 2010 was a very good year for film, I will say. It's like the last and first years of each decade are like always tend to be really great years for movies and games and music and stuff like that. And there was a lot of really great stuff that year. That year has 10 nominees for Best Picture at the Oscars. Usually there's only like 8 or 9 nominees, but that year there was 10, which is pretty crazy to think about. And I feel like there's still a lot of really great films from that year that I've missed, and I probably haven't seen. So if you guys are like, oh, why didn't Scott Pilgrim or The Social Network or Tangled or whatever other like really great films came out that year, that like why isn't that on the list, TVB? It's like, well, it's probably because I haven't seen it. I know it's heresy that I haven't seen those films. I mean, I've seen parts of Tangled. I know what happens, but I still haven't watched the movie in its entirety yet. But yeah, before we actually get into the list, I do have an honorable mention. Despicable Me. 2010 was arguably the best year for animation. There's so many really great animated movies, as well as cartoons for television, came out that year. Despicable Me being one of them. It was Illumination's, I believe it was Illumination's first feature-length film, and now they're like one of the biggest animation like companies on the market right now. The Minions are just so cute and hilarious. I laugh my ass off every time I watch this. That and Despicable Me 2, very good. That was a very good follow-up to this film as well. That came out back in 2013. Steve Carell and Miranda Cosgrove nail it as Gru and Edith. Yeah, that's that. Or no, Agnes is the little one. Oh, it's Margot, that's her name. Yeah, and like Vector is a hilarious villain as well, and Gru is a great villain as well. But he's a villain turned hero, and super bad to super dad, and it's just. Yeah, it's very heartfelt, very heartwarming, and it balances out like the outrageous comedy with touching, emotional moments as well. And here's the thing: it's a shame that I can't include Despicable Me in the top 5, because if I did, then more than half of the films that I would put on that list would be animated films. I wanted to kind of keep it diverse a little bit. But yeah, Despicable Me was a great film, and it definitely deserves an honorable mention. And at the same time, viewers, from 2010, there were a lot of great movies that year, but there were also quite a bit of stinkers, as I also have a dishonorable mention. Happy birthday, you piece of horse trash. Oh my gosh. I can't believe 10 years later and I'm still trying to forget about you. Anyway, yeah, let's forget that I mentioned that movie. Oh my goodness. And let's get to the list. Number 5! Number 5, we have arguably one of the best remakes of our generation, and that is True Grit. Directed by Ethan and Joel Coen, the Coen brothers. They remade this film. I haven't seen the original 1969 True Grit, but I do remember seeing this movie in theaters with my parents and one of my friends from elementary school, and it was a really great time. Jeff Bridges and Haley Steinfeld. I think this was Haley Steinfeld's like big break. She was like, I don't know how old she was at the time, but she plays a 14-year-old in this movie. She was nominated for an Oscar, and she totally deserved it as well. And this movie was one of those 10 Best Picture nominees. And yeah, Jeff Bridges was funny. He was kick-ass. I mean, they were both funny and kick-ass. Their relationship is very there's a lot of layers to it, and it's a revenge story about this girl wanting to avenge her father, find the man who killed her. And the shootouts are epic. I think this film's only PG. This film is PG-13, but it gets surprisingly gruesome in a few scenes, and there's a lot of, like, ooh, it kind of makes you squirm a little bit, and it's just like it captures the feel of the Wild West. Like, what was the last big Western film that we've had? I mean, I do count Call Me a Heretic, but I do consider Hell or High Water a Western. But like, I'm talking about like traditional Western films. The last big budget Western film I can think of came out off the top of my head is the Magnificent Seven remake back in 2016. That was really good. But yeah, Western films are kind of a dying genre, which is a bit of a shame because True Grit was a very well-made film. The direction, the cinematography, the action scenes, it was just what it needed to be, and it totally deserved all praise that it received. Number 4, here we go. Another excellent animated film from 2010 is How to Train Your Dragon. This, honestly, the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy might just be one of my favorite like trilogies like of all time. It's like definitely up there, like, the best animated film like franchises of all time, because the 3 films work very well like in a cohesive narrative. And I'm still like tempted whether or not to say that How to Train Your Dragon 1 is better than the sequel, How to Train Your Dragon 2. I'm still like very undecided over which one's a better movie. I guess I have to watch them again, but like this film is really DreamWorks at its best. Like my top 3 favorite DreamWorks movies, I mean, number 3 has to be like Kung Fu Panda, number 2 is this, and number 1 is like the first Shrek. And yeah, like this, like How to Train Your Dragon, the animation is so gorgeous, and the score, the soundtrack, and the characters. Toothless is so cute. He's cute and cuddly, and he burns dudes' faces off at the same time. He's everything that a pet dragon should be, and I love the relation, like him and Hiccup's relationship works so well, and they see them grow together, and you see like how it just makes me wonder like how different would it be if Hiccup just decided to kill Toothless right from the beginning instead of sparing him, and like what direction would that take his culture down, whether things would get better or worse. And just the fantasy and the lore of the world, like Vikings being at war with dragons, only to become friends with dragons, like buddies, and everyone starts riding dragons in the movie, and their romance with Hiccup and Astrid as well. Definitely one of my favorite like animated movie couples. Like in terms of like DreamWorks couples, I'd say they're either 1 or 2. It's a close call between Hiccup and Astrid and Shrek and Fiona, of course. Actually, it's like I know we still got a ways ahead until Halloween, but my girlfriend Sarah and I have been throwing around the idea of us being like Hiccup and Astrid, together for Halloween. Just reverse the hair colors, because Hiccup's hair is brown and Astrid's hair is blonde, and she's brunette and I am blonde, so might as well. And also, I get to keep the beard that I've been growing out, because Hiccup has a beard at the end of the 3rd film, and we're probably gonna do like wear steampunk goggles too, because we both just happen to have steampunk goggles. If it's too expensive, then we'll probably like I'll try to talk her into like being Salt and Pepper or something like that. Anyway, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon is just like DreamWorks. Honestly, like almost it's DreamWorks at its best. Like it has like the How to Train Your Dragon franchise has everything that like animated movies like for families. Again, not just for kids, but for families, good for kids and adults should have. Action, solid animation, and a fantastic voice cast. Jay Burchell and Gerald Butler like nailed their performances in this film, and yeah, just it has good jokes. It's dramatic in a few scenes. It's like existential themes. Yeah, it's just like I'm just really glad that it's as big of a success as it was. It's such a shame that Tenet has been delayed, or maybe has Tenet been delayed? I'll look it up later, but I'm still really excited for Tenet, and it's directed by my man Christopher Nolan, which 10 years ago also gave us this masterpiece, and that is Inception. Inception, when I first watched it, I was only 12 years old when this film, actually, was I? Yeah, I turned 12 that October. This film came out like during the summer, I believe. I really didn't like this movie when it was first released because I couldn't deal with how confusing it was. I guess it was just too big for my 11-year-old brain. But Inception is just one of those movies where you have to watch more than once to fully understand everything that's been going on. And yeah, it can get very confusing, but at the same time, there are really neat action scenes to back that up. So if you are one of those like more simple-minded movie reviewers, movie watchers, if you don't want to like use your brain at all, like there are good action scenes. Just you might not like approve of like the existential themes and like how deep and confusing the film's script is, but that's what makes it special. Is that like I want to say I wish there'd be more films like Inception, but at the same time I don't, because that's what makes Inception unique. You can watch it again and again and again, and you'll notice something new every time. The performances, my man Leonardo DiCaprio, like freaking like it should not have taken him that long to get an Oscar for The Revenant. Like he should have. I don't even think he was nominated for this movie. Maybe he was. I can't remember. But yeah, Tom Hardy's also in this movie, and so is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And there's like comic relief here and there as well. That was very well done. And like the action scenes, the cinematography, the score. My man Hans Zimmer. The score in this film is just it's just so good. And just the action scenes and the dreams, like a dream inside of a dream, like a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. I've had dreams within a dream before. It's just like a very inventive concept, and that ending though, it's like it leaves you asking like so many questions. It's good. Like for once, a film makes you ask a lot of questions, and that just go unanswered. And I'm happy about it. Like there's just leave it ambiguous, leave it just up in air and open to speculation. That's what film should be. It shouldn't tell us what, it should tell us how. If that makes any sense. Number 2. Okay, my second favorite movie of 2010s. I know I know that most, like, not a whole lot of you guys watch my videos, but I have this itch that someone's gonna crucify me in the comments for putting this film this high on my list, and that is Jackass 3. Oh, this movie, Jackass 3. It has such a special place in my heart because this was the first R-rated movie I ever watched. It was 6th grade. It was middle school on my friend's 12th birthday. He had me and a bunch of other guys over at his house. And we watched... His parents let us watch this movie, on his TV. And I was like... I felt so, like, molded by this movie. Jackass 3, it's like all the profanity and just the outrageous, gross-out stunts in this film. Like, oh my gosh, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Wee Man, Bam Margera, Danger Aaron, Dave England, just all the crazy stuff, like, order up, Poo Cocktail Supreme, and Steve-O just launch into the air with a porta potty, and like, the high five, hey, high five, whack, and they just go down. Oh my gosh, the high five still makes me laugh hysterically to this day. Like, I still, like, I remember last year when I was taking summer classes, like I would frequently take study breaks by watching Jackass 3 clips for whatever reason, just on YouTube. I would just watch, like, I would go on YouTube and look up like bits from Jackass 3. It's like this still opens with a freaking like midget brawl, like Wee Man like gets to a bar fight with another midget, then midget cops and midget paramedics run. It's like, where on earth do you find that many midgets? Like, oh my gosh, like all the stunts in this movie. I still haven't watched Jackass 3.5 because apparently there were so many like stunts in this film that they had to just leave out, for runtime's sake. I still haven't watched that like in its entirety. And Ryan Dunn, rest in peace, man. Like, it's so tragic that he like died in a drunk driving accident, after this film's release. And yeah, that's one of the main reasons why they haven't made a Jackass 4, is because the guys are getting old and moved on to other things, and like them, Ryan Dunn passing away is one of them. And he had such a big heart too. I just remember when they pulled the snake pit like prank on Bam Margera, like, because Bam really hates snakes, and he was freaking out as he fell into his snake pit, and Ryan Dunn he wasn't even laughing. Like, he just walked by, okay guys, that's enough, like let's take him out. And yeah, just like, he had such a big heart, and yeah, it's just such a precious soul that this world lost. Just please, kids, don't fucking drink and drive. All right, here is my favorite movie of 2010. And if you've been watching my videos for like a while now, you probably know what this film is. And like I said, 2010 was such a fantastic year for animation. And this, guys, is easily like in my top 5 favorite animated movies of all time. It's my favorite Pixar movie. As you can guess, it is Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is... honestly, people don't like give it... I feel like people don't give it the credit it deserves sometimes. Because I know some people will be like, oh, it's not as good as the first 2 Toy Stories. But, like, it's still my favorite out of the Toy Story franchise because of how, like, mature it is for a G rating. And just, like, again, this is, like, a quintessential family film because kids will have a riot with it and so will adults because the writing, the drama, the comedy, the adventure, like, again, this film just has everything. It has you on the edge of your seat and makes you want to cry, especially at the end when Andy has to give away his toys to Molly and Woody just says, so long, partner, like... Oh my gosh, like, the themes about growing up are just so on point, and, like, Lotso is a fantastic villain. He's a sympathetic villain as well, and Woody, and Buzz, and Jesse, and Rexy, and Slink, and Piggy Bank, just all, like, the lines this movie's like, oh, they stuffed me, and now I'm covered in sand and Lincoln Lots. I don't think those were Lincoln Lots. Like, oh my god, just like, oh, and Buzz, like, turns Mexican or something, and just can't only speak Spanish, and oh my gosh, that scene makes me laugh every time I watch it. And also, let's not forget Barbie and Ken, it's like, you're not a toy, you're an accessory! But, yeah, it's like, Pixar, please do not make a Toy Story 5, because I can understand, like, I was on board with Toy Story 4, because Toy Story 3, yeah, you can make, like, another Toy Story movie about the adventures of Woody and the gang, like, after, like, at Molly's place, but just wait Toy Story 4 ends, which I won't spoil for you guys, because, I mean, I know some of you probably haven't seen it, even though it's been over a year. Just the way that film ends, like, you can't possibly make a sequel, like, a Toy Story, like, 5, like, you can't. But yeah, Toy Story 3 is just, like, it was the 3rd animated film to receive an Oscar nomination for Best Picture, the first being Beauty and the Beast back in 1991, and the second one being Up, another Pixar movie that came out just a year before that in 2009. Yeah, 2009 was also a really great year for animated movies. But yeah, Toy Story 3 is just, like, Pixar just at its absolute best. And... yeah, there you guys have it. Those are my top 5 favorite movies of 2009. Thanks again for watching this. Thanks again for contributing to my poll. Thank you so much again, guys, for getting my channel to 250,000 views. Like, that honestly means the world to me. I can't believe July is almost here. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you probably saw my tweet where I'm just like, oh my gosh, for once summer is just flying on by, and I'm happy about it because it means this blasted pandemic will end faster. But, yeah, like, expect some, like, classic movie reviews at some point this summer, because theaters are slowly but surely reopening in my area before, like, you know, new movies come out. They're going to be, like, playing some older ones. Yeah, it just depends if I can squeeze out with my schedule. My next summer class starts in a week and a half from now. I'm recording this video on July 1st. So, yeah, I can't promise I'll be able to upload that many videos within those 4 weeks, because it's going to be a very condensed, like, busy, you know, do lots of reading kind of class. But we'll try to make it work. And, yeah, thanks a lot for watching. You guys really are the best. Follow me on Instagram down below. And, yeah, please subscribe. Stay beastly.